Hey, this is Shannon Kringen, Goddess Kring, and I wanted to say that I did the open mic comedy at the Rabbit Box tonight here in Seattle, and I forgot to hit record. I had my phone, and so I wanted to give you a little taste of my comedy routine tonight. I stood there in my outfit, my Goddess Kringwear outfit of my designs, and I did the open Michael at the Rabbit Box. Thank you to Emmett and Derek for that. And I went up there and I went, "Hey, I'm Shannon Kringen. Nice to be here." And how many of you remember Public Access from the 1990s? And then people clapped. And then I went, "I was that naked lady dancing around on TV in body paint and doing poetry." And so it's funny how I explain myself. Instead of just performing, I tend to explain myself. It's weird. I'm defensive. And then I go, "And I used to dance at the Lusty Lady that was across the street from the art museum years ago. And that was a fun job." And then I said something like, "I'm a left-handed only child with synesthesia, and I see shapes when I hear music, and it's a mixing of the senses." And now I said, my whole life makes sense. I'm 57, never been married, never had kids. And you know how a lot of kids, I'm an only child of parents who split when I was 4, and a lot of kids blame their parents' divorce. Like some kids would blame themselves for their parents' divorce. I blame my parents getting married on me. And then people laughed, ha 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 ha. I said, the opposite, whatever. And then I said something like, "Oxymorons through the door, a group for loners," and they all showed up. And I said, "Tom Petty widens my jetty, you do the math. You do the math." And then I said, "My family and friends sometimes, get annoyed with me because I can relate everything like 7 degrees of separation to Tom Petty." And I said, "I guarantee you can say anything, any topic, and I'll relate it to Tom Petty." And then a lady in the audience yelled out, "Guinea pigs." And then I said, "Oh, okay. Guinea pigs are cute animals that run around, and I like watching them. And I volunteer at the zoo, and I love to smell animals," which I know is weird, but I love the smell of different animals. "And I bet you Tom Petty smelled as good as a guinea pig." That's what I said. Because he was the most handsome man I've ever seen on this planet. And then I said, "I'm neurodivergent, Kringonian Pizzazz is my art book." And then I said, or my poetry book. And I said, "I painted myself in a corner. I'm squeezing blood out of a stone. Catch the wind song, spiral drive, crack the code." And then I said something about, what did I do? I forgot what else I said. But I took up the whole 5-minute time limit that I had. And I feel like I kind of rushed through it, and I didn't, when I'm on stage, I feel really grateful and lucky that I'm on stage, but I don't necessarily feel like I deserve to be up there, and I kind of rush through it. And I feel like I apologize for myself, and I explain myself, and I get really defensive, and yet I like being up there. So it's kind of like when I did my Public Access TV show, I should say that on stage, I was alone in my apartment by myself. And I could never do that in front of people. I could only do it alone. But when I did it, people thought my show was live, and I did it. This is what I should probably say on stage. See, I wrote my jokes out, on the sheet of paper. And I sort of said it in a funnier way than I just said it to you in this video. But so I'm proud that I did a little bit of improv with the audience and asked them a few questions. I wish that I had paused more, and I wish that I would tell stories that are, it seems like I just explain myself in a really boring way. And then when I'm referred to as a Seattle legend, people say that I'm a Seattle legend. I've had a few people say that. The improv guy that I worked with in a class, he referred to me as a legend in Seattle. And then tonight on stage at the Rabbit Box, Emmett and Derek, one of them, I don't remember which one, said that I was sort of a Seattle legend, and they used to watch my show in the 90s. And I'm really proud and honored that people are referring to me as that, but I feel really self-conscious, like I can't really live up to being a Seattle legend. And then I feel like I'm a letdown, or I disappoint people. And then I'm thinking, why do I have to be so self-conscious? And why do I have to be so hard on myself? And why do I have to be so, because honestly, I like being in the audience. I like being on stage, and I like listening to other performers and I'm a good audience member in terms of being on stage and being in the audience. But once the show is over, like before the show, I'm kind of nervous and shy about mingling. And then once the show is over, I feel really self-critical and I feel shy. And then honestly, some of my opinions don't fit into the stereotype that they're supposed to fit into. So I'm afraid to say, if I start making jokes about certain controversial subjects, I think I would get booed off stage. So then I can't really say anything about that. I have to sort of play along and pretend like I'm politically correct in every possible politically correct way, but I'm really not. My opinions are very nuanced, and I don't fit into the stereotypical one extreme opinion or the other extreme. Most of my opinions are in the middle somewhere, which some people would say is wishy-washy. So it's kind of like, okay, I better stay away from those topics. But I've wrote down no pauses and not open. So I need to learn to be more open on stage, and I need to learn to pause more and listen to the audience, give them a chance to laugh or respond in some way. And especially if I ask them a question. Somebody also asked me, and I also made jokes about the Seinfeld episode where he's a medical model and a standardized patient for medical students, and he jokes around about getting to have gonorrhea and other STDs or something, and he's like, thinks that's fun. Because I do that kind of work where I act things out for medical students, and I act things out that are totally different. Like the other day, I acted out that I was the mother of 3 and I was a professor of anthropology, which is totally different than the real me. So I talked about that, and I joked around about that, and joked around about, I don't have any kids. I'm not a real person. I just pretend to be a real person with medical students. But I don't remember if I said that. See, I wish I had it on video. So if I do another one of these open mics, I'll definitely record it next time so I can put it on my YouTube channel. I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel. So thank you for listening. I think that's all I'm going to say for now. But I just want to learn to get better on stage and do more open mic comedy or open mic poetry, comedy, storytelling, all of it, improv acting. Just get better at it and either get it out of my system if I realize I don't love it. Because when I did my TV show, I used to really express myself in a really brave way. And now it seems like when I go on stage, I'm so self-conscious about, I'm Goddess Kringen from Public Access, that I feel really defensive and like self-conscious and like I have to explain what I did in the past instead of doing something new in the present. That's all. Bye for now.